First of all, I want to thank the fans. Not ideal weather conditions, but they came out and supported like they always do. Unbelievable. It's a difficult place to play. A huge home field advantage. So I want to thank the fans for all their support and continued support for our players and coaches. That's been big time. So thought overall, I think our defense has handled some really challenging situations and stepped up. We need to tackle better. We're tackling too high. Sometimes we assume the guy's down and he's not. We got to get that cleaned up. That going into the bye week, that will be a really big focus for us. But overall, I think we're playing really well with the defensive side of the ball, considering all the personnel changes that we've had. Offensively, although we put up some good numbers and did some good things, I think our offensive line is getting more physical. And that's going to be important for us moving forward. I thought we matched up well against this team on the O-line and the D-line. And the games that we've matched up well, I think we've had success. We have to stop the little small things. We had something each drive, whether it was a penalty or a drop pass, that really took some situations where I think we could have had some more scoring drives. We're just a little too inconsistent. Our focus needs to be more consistent. Our strain needs to be more consistent. Those types of things. So good position going into the bye week. On special teams, I thought making sure that 4 likely didn't have a significant impact in the game was big. I thought for the most part that we did that. I thought that we've been kicking left corner. Worked this week about kicking across the field. And I thought that was helpful for us, kind of threw them off a little bit. So we're not so predictable in that situation. Gillikin had an injury this week during practice. Thought he could tough through it and wasn't hitting the ball the way he's capable. So Danny Pasquarello went in, huge for us. We haven't had that type of depth in the past. So the fact Danny could go in there and get the job done and do a good job was big for us, because when the weather started getting a little bit nasty and neither offense was doing a whole lot, it became a field position game. So that was big for us, for Danny to get in there and do that. So overall, very happy with the win. Great momentum going into the bye week. We need this time off. Some of our injuries, they're not going to heal in a week, but some will. Looks like we've lost Nelly for the season, but we'll find out more. But pretty confident in that. So it doesn't make sense for me to wait till Tuesday. Pretty confident we've lost him for the season. So we've had a rash of these types of injuries. I'm really proud of our players and our coaches. Next man in, and guys keep stepping up. I feel for Nelly, love that kid, but we'll be with him every step of the way. And if there's anybody that can get through, it's that guy. It's that guy with his family support, his family at home, and his family here at Penn State. We'll have his back. So open up the questions.
James over here. Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good luck. Okay. Really appreciate the time that you've been with us. I think this is your last game, so we wish you all the best in your future.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And now I'm a little embarrassed, but thank you. Trace McSorley opening up the run game with some of those RPOs and zone reads early. What did that do ultimately to allow Saquon to kind of break loose later on?
I think it really helped us. I think I talked about that this week with you guys on Wednesday, that getting Trace more involved in the running game, whether it's called quarterback runs or whether it's RPOs, where in the past the gray reads we've been handing them. We've been telling them, when you think you can get to the edge and beat it, pull it and get on the edge, and I think that helped us. It's one more thing for them to defend. I know when I sit in with our defensive coaches and watch tape, you've heard me guys say this before, it is frustrating on defense when you stop the run. Then you do a great job in coverage, you stop the pass, and then all of a sudden the guy takes off and runs for 12 to 15 yards or even 6 yards. It's just one more thing that you have to deal with to defend. So the mobility to quarterback position is going to be important for us moving forward. I thought it was a major factor in the game. That's a good defense. That's a good team. I think it really helped us. And I do think it helps Saquon. And I do think it continues to help our offensive line out in protection with some of the play action things that we're doing as well.
James, to your left. What do you think that the chaos period did for your team, for the offense, and how important was getting off to the fast start that it did today?
Yeah. I mean, it's easy for me to come in here as the head coach and say, we put in this chaos period and That's why we scored the opening drive this week. Yeah, it's something that we did that I thought was important, but it comes down to the players executing. It comes down to Joe calling a great game. And then I think, putting a little bit more of an emphasis on us helped. I don't think that was the difference maker, but either way, we did it this week, and we were able to open the game up with a little bit more success. So we'll continue to do those things. But yeah, it's about our players, it's about our coaches, it's all of us together.
But how big was that start?
I think it was huge. I've been talking to Joe about it. A lot of been talking to the team about it. I put some statistics up. When Penn State wins the first quarter, when Penn State wins the first half, it's in the 80% win percentage when we do that in Beaver Stadium. So whenever we do these things, turnover ratio, winning the first half, explosive plays. I always try to put the statistics up nationally, put the statistics up in the Big Ten, and then put the statistics up specifically to Penn State, and try to reinforce the importance of starting out strong.
Hey James, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. Hey, I'm curious, with Paris, he's more comfortable at left tackle, so that's why you flipped man over to the right side, and how would you evaluate Paris's play on first watch?
Yeah, Paris has been pretty much predominantly left tackle. So we feel like Man's got a little bit more flexibility. He's played a little bit more football, that he's going to handle that a little bit better than Paris. I don't know what we'll do here in the off week. It'll be based on how the tape looks. I think it'll also probably affect some of the younger players like Will Fries and things like that. We'll start to have some discussions. But yeah, that was pretty much our plan. We knew all along if anything ever happened to Nelly, we would move Man back and put Paris in, or the other part of the equation was Chaz. But we had rep Chaz this week almost predominantly at guard with McGovern, and didn't feel comfortable putting him out there to tackle with limited reps. So that's really what it came down to.
You talked about the defense handling a lot of challenges. What does it say about Brent Pry and Spencer and everybody on the defensive side of the ball, all the injuries you've had, for them to come out and have this kind of day?
Yeah, you guys could do that in terms of studying. I don't know if there's another defense in the country that has had to overcome all the different personnel and adversity that we've had. And I think our defensive coaches and players just keep stepping up. Again, I mean, we've lost 7 linebackers. We got guys, playing in games at positions they've never played before. We're moving positions. We're taking red shirts off. I mean, there's been a lot of that. So I think Brent Pry, our defensive staff, and our players are very proud of them. But I think it also talks about our strength staff and the development we've made. We would not have been able to survive this from a depth and from a number standpoint a year ago or 2 years ago for sure. So it's a step in the right direction. We're making progress. I see it very, very clearly. I know you guys see it as well with all the positive articles you guys write about us. All your heads snap up when I said that. The progress is happening, and I think that's a great example of that, the depth that's being created.
James, hey, you have so many players on this team from the Washington area. You recruit the Washington area pretty heavily. What's the significance of this win and the manner in which you did it from that perspective?
Yeah, I think winning helps everything. Winning helps everything. So I know the guys that we have from Maryland, D.C., Northern Virginia, the DMV as it's called. Yeah, that's important. That helps us. Obviously you walk into some of those high schools and things like that, it helps you. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, it's about getting a great education, which we can provide here at Penn State. It's about playing big time football, which we're headed in that direction. And it's about having a great collegiate experience. So we feel like we can offer that as good as anywhere in the country, but the wins are a part of that as well.
I guess he kind of took my question, but to expand on that, this is set to be a really big rivalry, Penn State, Maryland, in this division, with them all of a sudden in the Big Ten. It has to have some impact, lasting impact, even though it can change next year. But do you agree with that, the lasting impact it can have in recruiting and bragging rights and all that stuff, or is it just one game, one encapsulated game?
Well, I think the point that you're making is an important one. The Big Ten that Penn State was in for so long, one of the things that differentiated us was not only the 107,000 seat stadium and the history and the traditions and the academics, but that we were the only team really in this region, in the Big Ten, and it gave us a real advantage, to be honest with you. Now we have other teams, Rutgers in this region, Maryland in this region, that are playing Big Ten football. We don't have that to differentiate us anymore. So yeah, that's different. Does the win help? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I think people think I am anti-rivalry. I'm not anti-rivalry. But here's the issue. If it's a rivalry, you don't have to convince people. Everybody knows it's a rivalry. It's been a rivalry for a long time. We played against each other. You know, we played a game earlier in the year against Pitt. Our players had never seen a game against Pitt before. You know, maybe 20 years from now, we'll be calling games and it won't be a discussion. It'll be clearly a rival with certain teams. Is there a geographic significance to it? I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I'm not anti-rivalry. It's just, to me, it should be something that we're trying to convince or create. It's there or it's not.
James, what did it mean? You've talked so much about Saquon having positive body language through his first 6 or so games. What did it mean for you to see him hit that 200-yard milestone, and how much of an emphasis was that for you keeping him in toward the end to kind of hit that benchmark?
Our leadership has just been really good. Our team is in a good place. I told you that, guys. I told you that before at the beginning of the season. Our locker room is really healthy right now. When you get guys like Saquon Barkley, who maybe early in the season had some games that didn't have the production that people would have thought, it never affected him. It was about the team. It was about doing his job and his role. There was no bad body language. There was none of those things. It's about the team. And when you keep a good attitude like that, you influence others in a positive way, you're going to build something. And he's been a tremendous leader for us, as well as our older players and younger players. So that's been big for us. I really believe that. I do want to say, Tommy Stevens, it was great to see him get in the game. It's a shame because he had a touchdown there that came off the board, but we're excited about him and his future as well. So I'm pleased. I'm pleased with the leadership throughout the team, the coaches setting the tempo, the players running with it. But I think, as you guys have seen, you look at our roster, we have very little veteran players on our roster. And those guys are doing a great job. The young guys like Saquon are stepping up too.
Two more.
Hey James, I want to ask you about Koa Farmer and his progression. What have you seen from him over the last couple games when he's been pressing the service? He had obviously the big sack fumble and then tackle and a half for loss.
Yeah, Koa is one of the faster players on our team at 222 pounds. I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for our defense and our team because Koa's been kind of like a man without a home since he's been here. High school running back and Wildcat quarterback, played a little safety as well. Probably more of an offensive-minded player when he first got here. So it's nice to see him not only playing, but making an impact. He's always been a talented guy, who's kind of finding a home for him that fit our defense and also that he embraced. He's a little bit of an older player now, more experienced, and he's running with us right now. So that's big for us. That really is. Getting Smitty back and being able to move Manny back to the other outside linebacker spot helped us because Cam Brown, who we think is going to be a big-time player for us, is still growing. Probably doesn't need to play 60 plays in a game. Probably needs to rotate in there. So that was big for us. But yeah, I'm really happy for Koa Farmer. He's an awesome kid from an awesome family. I know he's looking forward to the bye week because he's going to try to get back to California and see his family for a few days after school's over.
How important was it to see the run game kind of get back on its feet and see Trace and Saquon and Miles even kind of get in there? And what was the difference there that made that so successful there?
Yeah, it's the same thing I've been telling you guys for 3 years. I'm coming into the stadium today. I got a gentleman. He's awesome. He waits for me right when I walk through the tunnel. And for the first couple of years, it was just support and great to see you, Coach. Have a great day. And now each week it's a few suggestions. Line up in the pistol. Get Saquon downhill a little bit more. Last year when we were running a pro-style offense, it was, Coach, you need to run the spread. This year, now we're in the spread. It's getting in the eye a little bit more. Hey, guys, it's simple. And, I've said this to you guys before. It's up front. We're maturing and growing up front. We're more physical up front on the offensive line. We're sustaining blocks. we're getting a hat on a hat. And when you're able to do that, you know, you're going to have a successful offense, whether you're running pro style, whether you're running spread, whether you're running wishbone. It starts up front. I know everybody thinks it's a magic wand about this type of offense. If you're good up front on the offensive line and defensive line, you got a chance to be successful. That's the difference. We're getting better on the O-line. It helps when you got a running back like Saquon Barkley and depth with the other guys, Miles, and get Andre back, and Mark getting in there and doing some good things, and then getting the quarterback involved, I think was big for us as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.